And now, here's Andrew Tawes and Captain Willie Dykes.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Captain Willie Dykes.
And I'm Andrew Tawes. Well, Willie, I hope your Thanksgiving holiday was a good one, because for me and my family, we sure did enjoy it.
Oh, it was a good one, Andrew. And while we're on the family theme, there's an event in Crisfield that attracts a lot of families on Delmarva. And while it might be a little loud, it's always a lot of fun. We're talking about the Crisfield Mud Bog. It's always been held behind the Elks Lodge off Route 13 in Somerset County, even back in the day when it was known as the Mud Hop. But as you can see, it's so much fun that it attracts kids of all ages.
You know, it appeals to everybody in the family. It appeals to the little kids that like the big, loud, jacked up toys. It appeals to the big kids that like the big, loud, jacked up toys.
Guys, come on, here we go, Daniel!
Like we said, this is a terrific event for the whole family. And once again, our buddy John Littleton with Hunters Helping Heroes is here, and he invited some servicemen and their families.
We got some active duty vets and their families from Fort Meade, Maryland, and we have some retired vets from Crisfield.
I love it. I grew up around this kind of thing down in Central Florida, the drag strips and the mud bogs and things like that.
My only experience has been tractor pulls up in Michigan.
What do you think of this?
I'm enjoying it. Kind of wish I could drive one.
Very, very family oriented.
My wife Amy, my son Wyatt, and my daughter Carson. They're loving it so far. I think Carson's more interested in the candy than the mud bog.
But behind all of the smoke and the noise, there's another family story we just had to tell you about. And it revolves around this particular truck, the Tonka Toy.
Mud bog, any kind of mud event, Tonka Toy. It's a staple for us around here, that's for sure.
The Tonka Toy is famous in Crisfield because it was one of the original mud hop trucks built by Greg Cullen and his buddy Daryl Monk. These days, Greg's son Ross Cullen looks after Tonka Toy, but how this truck came to be and how it's still racing is our story.
Now it's more or less a community truck. I've had a lot of help. If it weren't for all the help, it probably wouldn't be here today. My dad and a couple of his friends built the truck back in '81. All of his friends were getting into mud racing. There was a bad flood in '79 in Crisfield, and they helped get people back and forth to the hospital. And after that was over, they thought that it was fun, a good idea. Well, they were all members of the Elks Club, and they formed a little club and dug a pit, and before you know it, that's how the mud hop formed back in '81. And my dad unfortunately passed away. Mom sold the truck when he died. Claudie White bought it from my mother, and I called Claudie one day, and he said, "Yep, I'll give her to you." So I went there and picked it up, and they started the mud hop back up, and I said, well, I'll go ahead and build her. 2 years later, here she is.
When we got the truck, the hood was actually folded in half. The whole bottom of the doors were gone, the fenders were gone. I'm pretty sure we made this one. This didn't even exist. We made these. The whole cab corner here was gone. Ross built the bed, did a fantastic job with that. The floorboards were gone. There wasn't any floor in it. Pretty much starting from scratch.
The body is a 1951 GMC military truck. The transfer case is actually out of an old antique combine. Tires, wheels off old farm equipment, and it was basically made on a farm. He was very, very good with the sands, and you know, he died at a very young age, but he was, to be only 35, he really knew a lot, you know. And that was the whole reason we built this truck, for my dad. And it was more or less a memorial for him.
Coming up next, we've seen how she was rebuilt. Now it's time to get the Tonka Toy dirty.